Hurler is the lone adult wooden roller coaster at Carowinds. This ride has a reputation as a rough ride, and it's a popular candidate for an RMC conversion. That's especially true because King's Dominion previously had an identical clone of this coaster that was transformed into the awesome Rocky Mountain construction creation known as Twisted Timbers. But is Hurler really as bad as people say? Find out in this review. Both Hurler coasters opened in 1994 when both parks were owned by Paramount. As a result, the coaster was themed to Wayne's World. The queue line was themed to a hot film set, and the station was themed to the iconic duo's basement hideout. But after Cedar Fair purchased both King's Dominion and Carowinds, the rides were stripped of their Wayne's World theming. Today, Hurler is zero theming, and the station is just this ugly, desolate warehouse. Hurler was the only ride ever built by International Coasters Incorporated. The layout is heavily inspired by Kentucky Kingdom's Thunder Run, and I think that's a really good layout. Both coasters feature a large drop followed by a low-to-the-ground turn and a series of bunny hills, except Hurler was redesigned from the original to have some extra bunny hills in the second half. Both versions of Hurler have been retracked quite a bit in their lifetime. Depending when that occurred relative to your ride experience, it can dramatically impact your opinion. My first rides on the King's Dominion Hurler occurred in 2006, just after the coaster had been extensively retracked. And I loved it back then. The train flew through the layout, and the ride had lots of floater airtime. But when I returned to King's Dominion in 2012 and 2014, the coaster was much worse. For one, it was running rougher. Two, a trim brake was installed after the first drop, sapping the coaster of its airtime and power. That was the real buzzkill for me. King's Dominion originally planned to refurbish the coaster for the 2017 season, but they instead decided to hire RMC to transform Hurler into Twisted Timbers for the 2018 season. And that is a vast upgrade. Twisted Timbers is one of the best airtime machines on the planet. It is just a sea of ejector airtime. The Carowinds Hurler has been retracked in both 2014 and 2019, but it still features the same trim brake. The ride now crawls through the layout, but it's mostly smooth outside of the final two low-to-the-ground turns. Unlike King's Dominion, who had two other adult wooden roller coasters when they removed Hurler, Carowinds now only has one adult wood coaster in Hurler, so it would definitely leave a gap in their lineup if they were to RMC their version. Unless you visit Carowinds on an insanely busy day, Hurler is usually a near walk-on. This coaster typically runs two trains, each seating up to 28 riders, which is really good for a wood coaster. But it also isn't the most popular ride, which helps have its short waits. Both Hurlers ran the familiar 2-bench PTC trains with individual ratcheting lap bars, which is pretty standard for a wood coaster. My favorite row in Hurler is the front. I think the airtime is strongest up there. It is also the smoothest seat. Wherever you choose to ride, I strongly advise against riding in a wheel seat, or the back of a car. Those low turns will really beat you up in those rows. Once dispatched, you turn out of the station and ascend the 83-foot or 25-meter tall lift hill. At the top, you get a great view of a far superior coaster in Fury 325, and then you turn 180 degrees. While this turn is super slow, the train really shakes through it. You then head down the ride's largest drop by far. It's not steep enough to induce any airtime, but it does allow the coaster to reach its max speed of 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour for a brief instant. Once you hit that max speed, you immediately hit a trim brake. I know how much airtime this coaster can provide without that trim, however, it serves as a form of mercy currently. It helps prevent wear on the structure and discomfort on those low turns. The first low turn around the station is fast and fairly comfortable. Hurler then cruises over 3 consecutive bunny hills. Up front, the first two give very weak pops of floater airtime. If you're in the back, the final hill gives a faint feeling of weightlessness. In the middle, you won't get anything close to airtime. You then rip around another low turn. This one is minimally banked into it, so you get some mild laterals at the start. But halfway through the turn, the jackhammering returns. It is quite rough. Then the train coasts over 2 more bunny hills. The first gives another small pop of airtime up front, while the second again delivers a little bit of weightlessness for those in the back. The next element is my favorite on the ride, the bank turn under the lift hill. Not only are there some nice head choppers, but the minimal banking results in some decent laterals throughout the element. Hurler then meekly goes over an airtimeless bunny hill before navigating the final low turn. This one is pretty bad jackhammering towards the end of it, much like the prior one. Hurler then barely makes it back to the brake run, ending the 3,157 foot or 962 meter long coaster. So what would I rate Hurler? I would give the current form you can experience at Carowinds a 4 out of 10. This is a subpar wooden roller coaster. The trim brake neuters the coaster's pacing and power. The ride does have the occasional weak pop of airtime, and it's reasonably smooth minus the final 2 low turns, but it's a shell of the ride's former self. The version I experienced at King's Dominion back in 2006 that was recently retracted and running without the trims would have earned an 8 out of 10. That ride started like Kentucky Kingdom's Thunder Run, but it still had some airtime hills in the second half as well, while also maintaining its speed. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing the Carowinds version get RMCed as well, but it depends if Carowinds is okay not having an adult wood coaster. So those are my thoughts on Hurler at Carowinds. What are your thoughts on this wood coaster? Would you like to see RMC converted? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.